Hi everybody, it's Fast Tribesman here with a new feature called Tribesman Talks. Because today I've been joined by Eric, the developer behind the brilliant game is Kainga. How are you, Eric? How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well, thank you.
Excellent. For those that aren't familiar with Eric or Kainga, would you like to just give an introduction to what Kainga is and who you are?
Sure. So my name's Eric, as you mentioned, and I'm the sole developer of Kainga, which is a roguelite village builder where you kind of create these unusual towns in this semi-realistic world. And it's kind of a creation of my own thinking throughout the years of the game I wanted to play, and then I decided one day just to see if I could make it, and started tinkering away, and it's come a long way since then into the game that it is now, and it's actually already released on Steam and in early access, and which is a huge step. I'm pretty amazed to see happen, and
Sorry,
uh,
Karen.
yeah, that's pretty much it. It's a cultural based game where you discover technologies as you grow, and then you develop your town based on those technologies.
It's looking at the Steam reviews. It's got very, very positive reviews, and having played it an awful lot, it's a very, very enjoyable game to play. And like some of the things you've got, some of the beasts in there are just magnificent. What's your inspiration between some of the beasts, the large creatures that exist in the game, things like the acid spewing snails, which are huge, and the
Yeah,
big
yeah,
leviathans.
yeah. So the to the Steam reviews, yeah, I'm really surprised with the feedback or the response, and I think it comes down to being kind of a unique game in terms of gameplay and like how things shake out. There's a lot of city builders out there, but this one is a bit different in how you actually develop your town, and I think the beast is a part of that too. So the creatures, like you said, are a bit weird. There's a snail. And it's like, okay, I understand snails, but then it spits acid and
Yeah,
it's
that's
trouble.
as I found out, and yeah,
Yeah.
I've encountered several of the leviathans which have either spewed acid at me or completely wiped me out.
Yeah.
It's been interesting. You launched so you had a very successful Kickstarter campaign. How was that, and what was it like on Kickstarter? Were you like constantly updating your homepage all the time so how it was getting on?
Yeah. So it was a lot of work. It's if you're out there thinking about doing a Kickstarter, put aside like an entire month because it's a huge amount of work before and after, as well as during the campaign, the whole time. Um, and it was successful, which is really great. I did have prior experience. I helped my brother run a Kickstarter for a couple of board games, so
Not cool.
it was parallel worlds. But yeah, and the Kickstarter was more kind of just to get the game. It's like a soft announcement in my mind of to
Yeah.
get the game out there in the world, and see what people's reactions were. And the reactions were really good, so I decided to continue on with the production.
Is this your full-time job, or do you have a day job outside of this as well?
I did have a daytime job for a long time, but I decided to go full time in January.
How's it been? Has it been a major shift in the way you work and the way you live, or has it just been kind of seamless step from your career into your new career?
It was like a dream come true because game development is kind of a hobby. So stepping away from your corporate job and then walking into your hobby full time was really good. And now that um, it's doing well enough to support me, which is really great.
It's
Um,
fantastic.
yeah,
Congratulations! I think
yeah,
yeah, you're in an envious position. The amount of people out there that want to try and get to where you are
yeah. And
is
I think
admirable.
a lot of it comes down to luck. I don't think, um, and like I said earlier, uniqueness I think is a big part of it.
Yeah,
I think,
it's certainly unique. I'll give you that. It's just
yeah,
certainly unique.
because there's a
Oh,
lot of game developers and a lot of solo developers who are very talented, more so than me. But it's the type of uh, it's the end results which matters, I think.
yeah. Obviously, in your Kickstarter, because I don't know, I think I came across it on Twitter. I don't know where I found out about it, but I came across it, and it was one of your tech votes you were doing where you were kind of I've partly looking at your Kickstarter page. It was
Uh-huh.
things like voting what text you want. And so are those so? Did you have a predefined list of these are the texts I want to put in, or is it a case of kind of putting thoughts out there? For example, ceramic tower versus snail beckoning. Was it
Uh-huh.
kind of I want to do both, or is it kind of like I can only do one, so you everybody pick?
Yeah, that was kind of a bit of fun, just to get the community involved. Some of them were already planned. Some of them I made up on the fly. Um, the two arenas, I I thought of those a long time ago, and the cactus sled, I still haven't put that in. I have to do that.
I do like the cactus sled. I do like the idea of the
Yeah,
cactus sled.
it's got to come in. The snail beckoning, for example, that was actually already in the game. The both of those, the ceramic
Yeah.
tower was as well, and it was just kind of a cheeky way to get people to interact with it. But I think I'm happy that it made it in a greater fashion. And then the last two, they're both in the game as well now. The floating farm and the fishing net.
I've actually used a fish. I've tried to use a fishing net at some point. I have encountered that one definitely.
Yeah.
And also, you were looking at the stretch goals. So you've obviously you hit the first two balloons and the one and wandering traders. In terms
Mhm.
of the sandbox, encyclopedia, and one and the tameable leviathans, are they still things you're going to try and work into the game, or is it kind of like they're going to come along as you get bigger and get more support? Are they kind of have you got plans to bring those into the game anyway, despite them not hitting the stretch goals?
So the balloons I always knew would be we would hit that stretch goal. I kind of thought if the game's going to make it, if the goal was going to make it, then the balloons would happen, which is great. Sorry, it's my doorbell. But the Wandering Traders is coming in the upcoming update. The sandbox mode, a lot of people have asked me for this, and I would love for this to make it into the game. I am struggling with it mechanically, but I think I would. I'll do my best to see that in, but I cannot make a promise on that. But the
Like
in-game encyclopedia, personally, I really like that idea, and I think it will grow the lore of the game quite a bit. So if I really have some extra time to put that in, I will do my best to do that as well. And the last one, of course, is probably the one of interest, which is the tameable Leviathans.
yeah, both all three of those sandbox particularly, but the tameable leviathans, the
Uh-huh.
idea of walking around on a gigantic crab does appeal to me quite a lot. It's like
So I have kind of a middle ground where I don't know if mechanically it makes sense to be able to tame these leviathans. So what I've thought up is there's two ways that you can interact with this with the leviathans, and one is going to be like you can influence them, like you can convince them to go to one place or another. It's not a full tame, but it's like a invite them somewhere. And the second is a different play mode where you actually start on top of one and you have to build your town walking around.
oh, I like that.
Yeah.
I do like the sound of that.
So just like a different type of challenge where
Yeah.
I don't know if you played the islands map. There's that floating creature.
Yes, I have. Yeah, the floating. Yeah, what it's like. Yeah,
Yeah.
I have encountered a couple of those. Yes.
So
Yeah.
there's him the ice. I call him the icebreaker, and he'll be another one where you can just kind of start on top of that and try to build your town while floating around, which will be a real struggle, I
Yeah.
think, to get materials and everything you need. But it could be fun.
Yeah, I do like the idea of that. Just kind of a bit of a different challenge because the floating map is a challenge anyway in itself. But floating around on a gigantic iceberg would be a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
Leading on from the stretch goals, looking at your roadmap, obviously you're at the point of the trade and travel update. Are those kind of the way you've mapped out your roadmap? Is that
Mhm.
kind of like you're gonna do all of your trade and travel update and then eventually then clothing in stone and then wildlife and then limitless, or is it kind of a case it's going to mix and match? So basically, talk me through your roadmap.
Yeah, so there is a lot of steps in the roadmap. And basically, what I did at the time of the Kickstarter is I laid out everything that I wanted in the game in the end and then kind of broke it into pieces, um, so I could uh, keep myself on track on development in adding all these pieces into the game by the time the game is complete for the 1.0. And I also split the regions up. So each update will have a new region, and then each region brings with it new challenges. And I just chose things that fit that region. For example, the clothing and stone obviously fits the ice region because it's cold. The inventions fit the towers map because it's more tricky to traverse. And yeah, so the one I'm working on now is trade and travel, and of course, it's going to be. I'm working on some weird inventions now as well. So things will just get peppered in as they see fit, but the main theme will stay. And I hope each update to bring a new map, and then also with that, new creatures, of course, new technologies, and then often a new thinker. So this next update is going to have a new thinker as well, which is a bit unusual, to say the least.
I do like the sound of that.
I'll give you a little hint. He's actually not solid. He's made of a gas, and
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, he comes with this giant what do you call it? Like a jar, and it's the smoke that comes out of the jar, and he's actually the smoke, and he can't when he only has 1 health, and when he gets defeated, he like goes back to the jar. But if the jar breaks, then you lose. So
That
it's like
is fantastic. That's absolutely mental.
yeah, so it's a bit of a different play style where you don't have to worry about your thinker dying, but you have to carry this jar around with you. It's like a burden.
So in game, when I've noticed when obviously you spawn and your crit crits. I've noticed in terms of sometimes you drop with 2 villages that are quite small, not many braves in there. Other times you drop when there's a cast of thousands. Is there a kind of are you going to just kind of any difficulty settings into the game, or is it just kind of like potluck as to what you're facing when you actually drop into the map you've chosen?
You mean the neighboring towns, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so there's issues with the way that they grow. Actually, it's something I'm really working on now, and have been improving the way that they spawn and the way that they grow over time. Because, like you said, sometimes you're totally outnumbered at the start. So I've changed it so they actually build up a little bit once they start up, and the number of people that are there are actually the number of people that they start with depends on the number of houses they have, which depends on the terrain that's around them. So there's a lot of factors to deal with, but I think the randomness is fine because with the next update, aggression will not be the only way to deal with these neighbors. You can become friends with them or ally with them through trade. So if you have a neighbor that's right next to you, it could be beneficial.
Oh, cool. Because
Right.
I've a lot of time I've got a habit of just cavalry charging the closest one to me just to get rid of them, so I can have a bit of breathing space.
Yeah.
It does add a bit of challenge to the game. In terms of timescales, have you got a particular kind of plan as to like this month I'm doing that, then that, then that, then that, or is it kind of just a case of as it's done, it gets launched, and when it's done, or have you got like, for example, I want everything done by November 2022? So is it just kind of a more of a flowing process, or have you kind of set yourself a kind of timeline?
I have set myself actually a very strict timeline that I've done pretty well to keep up with, besides a small delay before the early access launch. But I've basically each update is set into a 2 to 3 month period between one another. So we launched in, when was it? Now I forgot.
November.
October, was it? November.
November, yeah.
So we launched in November, the 2 to 3 months after that. I mean, I'm planning on releasing this update in January, so that fits the schedule. And then after that, 2 to 3 months after that. And the reason why I say 2 to 3 is I'm planning 2, but give some leeway for unexpected delays.
Yeah, a bit of wiggle room, which makes sense.
Yeah.
If there's one feature you're most excited about coming out, what would it be? Other than the thinker, because that sounds very exciting. Is there one particular thing that you're really, really excited about? You're thinking, this is going to go down really well when it's done. Is it, if you've got one particular thing that's most exciting you that's coming up in one of your updates?
Well, I think something that's not very visually striking is the way that that I'm working on now, the way that the camps grow and build, and the way you can interact with them. I think that's going to be really good for the game long term. Probably the most important thing in all of the updates is how your AI interacts with you.
I'm
But
looking forward to that.
but for like a standout feature or something, I think I really want to make a system where you can have nomadic towns, like whether that is on the back of a Leviathan or if it's like an entire city that's on boats or something like that. That's what I'm looking forward to the most. And having that to be a choice to say like, okay, this time I think I'm going to go nomadic and see how that works.
I do like the sound of that because it's particularly on the islands map where you could just float around and
Yeah.
dip into islands if you want to. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah. I mean, it's a tricky thing to balance it with everything else because obviously being stationary will be a lot better. So if there's a way to get food and resources without farms, then that could be really cool.
I do like the sound of that. So looking, our next update is coming in January, and I'm looking forward to that. Excellent. I mean, it's been really nice talking to you. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to the gas thinker. I'm looking forward to that a lot. I do like that. And
yeah, sure. And if I just want to say to anyone, if they have any ideas for like technologies or beasts or whatever, feel free to pop into the Discord and let me know because I love to add community ideas. I've actually added quite a bit already. There's a couple of Walker specific technologies that are coming in the next update as well that were created by members of the community, which is really cool.
Cool. So if you obviously you've got a Discord, I'll put a link to the Discord in the comments below somewhere. I'll put a link to Discord. But so how active is your community Discord? Have you got a lot of people pitching in ideas and such like?
Yeah, there's a lot. There's quite a bit there. Um, I'm actually surprised how much interaction there is. It's really great. And the people are, they give each other tips and stuff. Somebody says, yeah, what are the coconuts for? And people can talk about it and so forth. Yeah, they've been really great. I think the community has been really positive. And I think part of that is that it's just a weird game that you can just have fun with. It's not very serious in that sense. So that kind of attracts people who are, lighthearted and there to have a good time.
Do you ever see a scope for multiplayer in this? Because obviously at the moment you spawn with two neighbors on most maps. Do you ever see any scope for like small multiplayer games?
I would love to see multiplayer. I think it'd be really weird and really imbalanced, but it could still be really fun. But this is the first game I've created, and actually the first time I've ever coded anything in my life. So it's a technical feat that I'm not yet comfortable with. It's something I'm going to look into after the launch. If with enough success in the game, like if multiplayer seems viable, then yeah, I'll go for it. Because I think it would be really cool. I think it would be. I think people would blame the RNG a lot on them losing, but I think that's the way it is.
Yeah. it's always all everybody else's fault when something goes wrong. It's not my fault when I lose a game horribly. It's all everybody else's fault.
Yeah, and maybe a co-op system's better, or like the ability to backstab your friends.
So you've come from it. You've not come from a coding background, then?
No, I did not. I came from the art side.
That's good. You can tell because the art style. That's one thing that grabbed me. The art style's beautiful. I just love I do love the arts. I love the colours. I love the braves. The way the braves are shaped is fun. It's a beautiful game.
Yeah, the 2D characters in a 3D world.
Yeah, it's great. It's amazing that you've come because my background, my day job is a SQL developer. So to come into this without any coding background is quite an achievement.
Yeah, so it did take me some time to figure out, what everything means and like what a vector is. It's like I don't know. So it starts or float or boolean. Like all of these are just like gibberish to somebody who doesn't
Google becomes your best friend.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like excellent. Anyway, thanks very much for chatting. She'll put links into Steam and the Discord for anybody that's interested. And I'd wholly recommend giving it a try because it's great fun. It's fantastic. It's certainly different. Anyway, thanks for getting together with me. It's taken us about a week to get it sorted out, get our diaries to match, but it's fantastic chatting to you. Thanks very much, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Brilliant. And like I said, good luck with the rest of the development because I will certainly be keeping an eye on it because I've had great fun with it.
Yeah, sure.
Brilliant.
All right.
Excellent.
Take care.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Bye.